Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with Mystic Gen Mara, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, move my mouse out of the way here, I'm going to do the yearly outlook reading, kind of give you a heads up on stuff to work on for each month through the year, or a way to just kind of be aware of the energy that might be moving around at that time. These are general readings for an entire elemental sign, and today we're doing the elemental sign of Earth. And so they are going to be very broad-ranging. You know, take what you can use out of the messages here and ignore the rest. It's probably for somebody else. And one thing I just wanted to bring up, I'm kind of excited about this before we get started with the reading, is I have a new meditation course that is on my website, and it's linked in the description. And it is a course that has 3 videos and 2 little worksheets that you can use if you choose. And the first video is going over my philosophy on how I view the divine and how it's manifested in my experience anyway. And then the other 2 videos, one is for divine feminine energy and the other one is for divine masculine energy. And it's a way for you to deepen your connection if you are looking to do that, and maybe make a more personal connection, because it's a way to tap into the face of the divine that is the masculine and the divine feminine that is basically the patron, if you want to use that term, for you in this lifetime. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can check that out. Like I said, it's linked in the description. And with this style of reading, I only like to use tarot decks, and so I am using the Angel Tarot and the Fairy Tarot by Radleigh Valentine. They tend to work really well together, and they're messages agree with each other. I've had other decks that don't want to talk to each other or be nice to each other, so I try to find ones that are more resonant for this. So for these readings, I will be using those. I read intuitively, and so it may not be exactly what the message on the card says, or if you read traditionally, I can guarantee that it's not going to be the same, because I go with what the angels and the spirit guides bring forward for me to understand, to share for you. So what I will do as I go along here is I'll switch back and forth between the 2 different decks, and what will happen is whatever card comes up, and it might be 1, it might be 2, it just kind of depends on what happens, for each month of the year. And again, you can use these to have as journal prompts to give you some guidance on a lesson to work on for that month, or it could just be giving you a heads up on some energy that might be rolling around in your life in that time period. So we'll get started. This is for January. I'm not sure why that was so difficult. It is the King of Water, trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you, trustworthy and heartfelt advice and charity work. So right off the bat, Earth signs, you have a very, very strong masculine, but tending toward emotional energy that's coming forward, and it's working on these areas that as Earth signs you are very strong in. It's that trustworthy, the respected, cultured. It's things that are more stable and grounded, and you have the very high frequency energy of the King of Water. So this is the masculine water cards coming up, and they're saying that during this first month of the year is a really good time to be aware that your strength and your stability may be what is helping other people, and look at ways that you can work to refine that energy, to maybe enhance that energy, or maybe look for someone if you are in a situation where you kind of need someone to lean on. Those are the aspects that you want to be looking for in that friend, or however that's going to work for you. So let's look at February for Earth signs, and we're going to stick with the angels for a minute here. There we go. And I have a very small work desk to work on here, so it gets interesting. This one is number 12. This is a major arcana card in the Angel Tarot, and it is Awakening with Archangel Gabriel. So look at things from a different perspective, a temporary standstill, and it's important to be yourself. So this is a little bit of a slow down reminder. During January, you have this energy coming forward of the divine masculine. You're working with the more grounded aspects of yourself and with others if you're needing that, and you're working on finding stability and balance. This second month, February, you have Archangel Gabriel, and I always see Gabriel as a more feminine angel. You can see her or him however you choose, because the name goes for both. But I always see Gabriel as female, and looking at things from a different perspective. This is kind of tied into that concept of the Hanged Man card, where the person's hanging upside down from one foot, and you're getting this shift of an awareness. You're not seeing things like in this box. You're looking at them from the wide angle lens, let's say. And when you have Archangel Gabriel coming forward, you have this energy of the more emotional water energy as well. So you've got this shifting of an awareness, a shifting of belief. They're referencing spiritual belief, so you could have a little bit of a dark night of the soul during this time. And working with Archangel Gabriel during this emotional and possibly rough transition period is actually going to benefit you. And it's just a way to look at things from the different perspective. It's not meaning that you have to change everything in your life. It's saying look at another system. Maybe look at a different way to look at the system you're in. Basically take off the rose-colored glasses and take a peek at what's going on around you. So that's what's coming up for February. So let's look at March with the Fairy Tarot. And for March, the fairies decided to give you 2 cards. So we have the Major Arcana card of the Sun, plans that work out perfectly, amazing ideas that lead to rewards and accommodations, gratitude for the blessings of life. And then you also have the 7 of Winter. There is a better choice, not seeing things clearly, and running away from the truth. So there's some interesting energy coming forward in March. Get those up there for you. You've got the Sun, which is a very strong energy. Again, you have masculine, but with the 7 of Winter, I'm getting a lot more female energy. So this is a period of looking at which ones are maybe out of balance in your life. Try to bring some balance to the masculine, feminine energy. Bring this down here. And what the Sun card is always a card that, well, not always, it generally leads to being a successful outcome. But they also have this, the 7 of Winter is like a warning card. So you've got these amazing ideas you've been working on, things that are, going forward and they're rolling the right direction. But the 7 of Winter is saying, is it going the way your soul wants? It might be going the way you'd planned, but sometimes, those plans that we set out there and, Divine will step in and be like, no, boop, we're going over this direction. This plan over here was fine, but this is a better option. And so it's just maybe a way to look at things that you have going on in your life and saying, when you're making these plans and you're setting things up, saying this or something better, that way the universe and God source energy can help guide you in case you get a few steps into this and you're like, this isn't what I expected. Then there's another option that's available to you. So this is, everything's going the right direction is what this is saying, but be open to another type of energy coming in as well. So let's look at April with the Angels. And if you have questions or comments as you listen to these, just you can drop them in the chat while we're live, or drop them in the comments section afterwards. And I check that often. So your April card, is number 11, the Strength card with Archangel Ariel, which this is the female version of Uriel. Great inner strength, release harsh judgment, forgiveness, and compassion. So this is the softer energy of your earth sign, or your earth energy. And when you have Ariel come in, you're working with that more the home life, but it's that inner strength. It's the inner child that you're building up. You're using that energy to support you. And it says to release harsh judgments. Are there things in your life during this month of April is something to think about or look at? Are there things in your life that are just not working? Are there things that you're being really hard on yourself about? Maybe your New Year's resolution's not going so great. Are you offering harsh judgment on that? Or is it something at work that's just driving you nuts? And so you're getting really frustrated and you're starting to bring up that energy of judgment and anger. And all of those things are natural. We all have them. That's not what we're going with here. But Ariel's coming forward for the month of April to say forgiveness. Learn compassion. You're having these situations because there is a lesson within that situation that you can learn from. So in the month of April, look at ways that you can take the struggles, the trials, these frustrations, the things that are just kind of setting your teeth on edge, and find a way to find the lesson. And when you find the lesson, you can find the compassion. Take the situation here. Let's say it's a coworker that's driving you nuts. Take it to the next step back. Well, is there something that I could be doing that's frustrating them as well, so we're at war with each other? And if there is, then work to change that. If you can't find something that you're doing, that's happens, then look at maybe what's going on at their home. Do you know what their home situation is like? If not, maybe that's why they're coming to work frustrated. Or it could be something that goes back even further. Don't be unethical in your thought patterns here, but find a way to develop the compassion so that when that person is frustrating you, you can look at them and be like, I'm not sure what's going on here. And say this to yourself, not out loud. I'm not sure what's going on with this other person, but I can find compassion because I'm sure there's times where people get frustrated with me. So maybe I can find some common ground to work with this person versus being at each other's throats the whole time. So the month of April is really about tapping into that more compassionate side of life and understanding that the earth energy that you carry is extremely powerful, and it's balances with all the other elements. But with earth, you're dealing with the home, you're dealing with the hearth, you're dealing with finances, and those can be a little bit more frustrating to deal with at times. But you have the Archangel Ariel. Like I said, it's Uriel's female counterpart coming forward saying, let's look at the more gentle aspects of Earth and let's try to work with that. And that is a deep well of compassion. So for May, we'll check in with the fairies. And we have, once again, looks like you're going to have an interesting year this year, Earth signs. You have the Awakening card, number 12 in the Fairy Tarot, which this is the Hanged Man energy, just like you had in February with Archangel Gabriel. So this first half of the year is going to be a lot about working through issues, trying to find alternative views, but also seeing things from a different perspective. So the card says, change the way you're looking at the situation, embrace your uniqueness, a temporary pause. And so what this is saying is a lot like it did in February, is in February, you had to shift, take a pause, look at things from a different perspective, maybe, the wide angle lens concept. And then in May, you've went through some hiccups. You've had a couple of rumbles there. In March, you have plans that are going forward, but there could be some edits to your plans that need to be put into play. And in April, you're working on finding compassion and working through some stressful, more heavy energy. And what that's going to do, and that's leading into May, is you're having a new perspective on life. The one in February felt like it was going to be more of you're kind of pushed into having this newer awareness. And for this one in May, it's the inevitable outcome, because you're looking at your plans in March, you're learning a bit more about compassion in April, but what that's doing is actually shifting your worldview. So in May, you're once again tapping into that shift of view, but this one is going to be a lot more natural, is what they're saying, and it's going to be a lot more free-flowing, where it's just kind of like the logical next step is to see a different view in a different pattern. So just be aware of that in May, that there could be some stuff going on there. My phone just went off again. Sorry. And we're going to stick with the fairies to look at the June energy for Earth. And there we go. We have the card, the Prince of Winter for June. Intellectual, determined, focused, and impulsive. Seek out an intellectual solution to your problem, the need to act quickly and decisively, sudden or unexpected changes. So this card actually is bringing forward the energy of, you've had these two primary shifts of awareness. In February, it was kind of a forced shift, and in May, it was the logical next step, kind of a shift of your view. And the reason you're getting these shifts, this is the energy they're bringing forward anyway, is that there's some things that are going to start happening. We're moving out of the cold, slow kind of season. You're getting into the summer months where things start happening a lot faster, and you've had these shifts in perspective, and you've had these awareness changes where you've kind of understand a bit more about compassion at this point. Again, this is a general reading, so and you've had a few of your plans get a little bit more adjusted into a more streamlined path. And what that did was it set you up for some big leaps that are coming forward in June. So in the month of June, just be aware that there's going to be coming some this or that, and you have to make the decisions now. It's not going to be a slow down period. It's, here's your options, which one? Okay, we're going to go with that one. And you're doing that from a point of learned experience. So this is a way of basically taking the knowledge that you've acquired and putting it into wisdom action in real time. So just be aware that during the month of June, there's going to be a little bit busier of a month as far as decision making, and you're using what you already know and what you've already learned to process and make these jumps in a more stable way. So let's look at July for the angels. And we have the Ace of Fire, a new exciting opportunity, career advancement, and changes in your life. This is reading like the logical next step pattern for you Earth signs, which is probably why it's happening, is you guys don't like to be surprised. Everything has to be kind of laid out. But you have this amazing energy moving forward. You've got these different shifts that are occurring. And what this is doing, in June, you had this quick response period where you have to make these decisions, but you're making them almost without realizing it because you have the knowledge to turn into wisdom. So these decisions you're making are kind of the logical next steps as you bounce along through June. And in July, the reason is because you're starting something new. You've been working and clearing out and adjusting how you respond to things, how you see things, how you interact with the people around you. And what that's doing is they're saying that this is bringing forward a new opportunity for you, and they're being pretty adamant that it has to do with a work situation. So if that resonates, try keep an eye out for what happens in July. But they're talking about it's a period of starting a new project, a new endeavor, but it's also a period of quicker growth. Fire tends to work really fast, whereas the earth energy is a little bit more plodding, slow. This is what we're doing. These are the next step. And in July, it's saying that there's going to be a little bit of a speed up. You had a lot more speed starting to build in June, but July, it's because you're starting something new. You had that build up because you're about ready to pop through a ceiling, is what they're showing me. So let's see. We're going to go do another angel one here real quick, following what comes up. So this angel is going to be for the month of August. And in the first week of August, you have the holiday of Lammas. So the first harvest is coming your way. And so it's just something to think about is when you're coming around to those different holidays, and I didn't reference the first part of the year, but you had Candlemas in February. In March, you have Ostara, or the spring equinox, and in May, you have the Beltane, and then in June, you also have the celebration of Midsummer, which is the Yeah, summer. The longest day of the year, June 21st. I just completely am blanking the name. Solstice, summer solstice. There we go. Sorry about that. So for August here, we have number 14, the balance card, Archangel Zadkiel, the need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise, and waiting for perfect timing. And this is from the Archangel deck, or the Angel deck, I should say. And so what you've got going on is you have the first of the harvest periods, but you also had a lot of buildup and a lot of things jumping forward and exploding up. And you had the fire card, Ace of Fire, coming forward, saying you got some new things starting here. And what Zadkiel's coming forward, what they're bringing up as well, is you have a lot going on, and a lot of it looks like it's going to be something to do with work or employment. And Zadkiel's coming forward saying that's great, but you have to have a life outside of work. Work as much as you are comfortable with, but don't forget you have a family, you have friends, you may have other pets or property that you have to take care of, and don't forget to balance your time. You have your work time, you have your home time, but also have downtime to really, basically allow yourself to take a breath. So you're doing the busy work thing, but you also, in August, it's coming forward that don't forget to do some self-care. Don't forget to take care of your family and hang out with them. Just basically bringing it all down into a more balanced state is what they're saying. So let's hop forward into September, which also has the autumn equinox in it, which is Mabon, I believe. So you have another Sabbath coming forward here. And for September, we have the 10 of Summer, an emotionally fulfilling life with family or friends, raising children wisely and people you can trust. So you've worked all of this year and you're changing some views, you're building some momentum. You've got some new stuff coming forward in July. In August, it's saying take a breath, rebalance and reground yourself, because the 10 of Summer is the completion of a cycle. And it's saying that you've done a lot of work and you've built these relationships, you've built the employment status, and now it's time to enjoy what you've accomplished. So September is about taking a step back, not so much like, pulling away, but just take a step back, maybe slow her down a little bit, and really enjoy what you have done so far. Take the time to visit with friends in a lot of the northern part of the world. September is a time for your last camping trip, your kind of last outdoor barbecue type stuff, because it's starting to get cool enough that unless you're there's a few people I know who are like, barbecue, snow 10 feet tall, doesn't matter. So if you're one of those, just keep doing your thing. But for a lot of people, September is the slowdown period from the busyness of summer. It's also the period of the second harvest, which is a lot more of your veggie harvests. A lot of your winter produce will start being harvested at this time, because you got your frosts that come in and start killing everything. And so you have a different form of harvest in September, but you also have this energy coming in that don't forget to enjoy the fruits of your labor, enjoy the friendships that you've built. So September is really about reconnecting in that way. So let's see. We're going to go back to the angels to look at October for Earth signs. There we go. And we have the 9 of Earth. Enjoying life's luxuries, spending quiet time alone, and successful self-employment. So you've had this interesting build-up this year of coming forward, getting busy, getting going, starting new stuff, resetting your balance, and then enjoying time with friends and family. And now in October, you have the real push for winter, but it's also kind of like the push to the break. So you have this weird dynamic of energy in October. And the 9 of Earth is saying, enjoy what you have accomplished. You still have a lot to do. There's still a lot going on, because October is not a slow month. But take the time to enjoy it. And spending quiet time alone. This is the time when, how I was raised, anecdote. This is when a lot of the times the men would pull away from the towns and away from the family, and they would go off to do hunting camp, which that's a lot of what we ate through the winter. But while you were away, it was also quiet, because we would be at camp in the evenings, but during the day, you might be with one other person, but you're out there in the middle of the woods. And when you're at camp, you usually pack in, so you're in there for, 7 to 14 days, depending on supplies and who you're with and all that fun stuff. And you get up before sun, you go out, you find your spot, and you plant yourself, and you're there all day. And there's times you're out there by yourself, which is amazing. It's so quiet. And what the Nine of Earth is saying is during October, take that time to step away. If you've got the time, just take it. Even if it's 10 minutes and you just need to go be by yourself at your lunch break, go do that. But try to do it somewhere in nature so that you can kind of reground yourself. Being an earth sign, you do better when you have contact with actual rock, not concrete, or with soil. So find a place where you can just be a little bit outside in nature. It's getting a little crisp in October if you're in the north, so make sure you have a jacket, but just take that time to enjoy it. And those little luxuries are being able to have that. Those little luxuries are going home to a comfortable home that you've been putting either rent or mortgage towards. It's those type of things are your luxuries, and just take the time to enjoy them. So let's see, we've got November next, and we'll see what the fairies have to say about November. Also during October, you have Samhain towards the end of the month, and so it's a time to, when you've been doing those quiet periods, look at the things that you can release as well, and then release those during the Samhain festivals towards the end of that month. And it's a good way to just send them away, send those worries and that stuff that you just don't want away, so it's gone. Because that's a good way to close the book on some things during that time. So November has the Major Arcana card, number 6 in the Fairy Tarot, and it is the Lovers. True love that is long-lasting, choices made from the heart, and return to good health. So you've done a lot of work. There's been some outlook changes. You've worked on your compassion. You've got some new stuff going on. November, they're saying reconnect with your spouse. They're really being loud. And if you're single, take the time to figure out what it is that you want out of a romantic relationship. Something that the plans that you're building at this point are going to be long term. And normally everyone's like, oh no, February is the month of love. That's where Valentine's Day is. But when this card comes up, it's really saying this is the time to reconnect with your inner circle. You're working with your spouse. You're working with your closest friends, like the top 3 people that you hang out with. You're building that relationship, and you're building your family. This card is really emphasizing family right now. And during that time, and if you're in the United States anyway, you have the Thanksgiving holiday, which is a really big family event. So November with this is really about connecting into your family and building that. Building those connections. So November is really, you've done a lot of work, you've been busy, but November is about the reconnection time. So let's take the angels for December and see what, I dropped my deck, what they have to say. So, and like I said, if you have any questions or comments, you can just drop those in the comment section. And I do check back on those. Even if it's criticism, as long as we can be respectful, I'm totally cool with checking those out. So, your December card from the Angel Tarot is the Page of Earth. Scholarly, dependable, patient, and successful. Good news about financial matters, wanting to do something more challenging, and a new area of study. So after you've done your reconnection with your family and your spouse, or building that wish list of partner qualities if you're single, now you're tapping back into getting busy again. And that's, the cycle of life. That's what we do. So December is going to be a bit busy again. But they're they're really being loud about education periods. So if you're something that you're like a course you need for your work, this is the time to work on that. Or if you are in the situation where you're the trainer, this is the time to start working on that new program, try to get that new series out, the new module for business, but really about tapping back into the knowledge and using that to share and allowing yourself to be in the situation to share. And what that's going to do is that's going to build that energy that they're talking about with success. This is a time to look long term again at what is it you're trying to create in life, what are your next steps, what course of study or what things do you want to learn or need to learn to be able to build that new and great future. But it's really a time about being busy and more brain busy than physical busy is what they're emphasizing. So that's kind of an outline of the year. It starts off with a bang and ends with a bang, and you've got this nice little quiet period towards fall to connect with friends and family, reconnect with your spouse or maybe find one, and just kind of work through this rebalancing period, because you had a lot of busy in the first of the year and the balance, and then you're starting back up into another busy period in December. So hopefully that resonates for you guys, and if you like the video, please like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Like I said, please drop comments below. I read all of them, and so just, let me know what you think. If it's criticism, that's fine. Just as long as we're respectful, I'm cool with that. And check out the website, my website below. I've got a lot of cool stuff on there. I also have some other services that I don't offer on here, obviously, and there's also the new meditation course if you're interested in that. Otherwise, I hope you have an awesome new year, and I will be talking to y'all in a future video. I think the air reading is either going to be tomorrow or Thursday. I've got a couple of things going on right now, so I'm not sure which one's going to happen which, but that's where we're headed next, and I will talk to you guys apparently tomorrow evening. Have a good night. Find the right button. There it is.